Hey everyone, what's up? So, you guys all claim Canelo's this defensive master, and understand too, this is a guy who needs to, he needs judging to assist him. He loses so many rounds of fight, it's not even funny. Uh, and this is Jaime Maguire. This is a straight up and down fighter. Jab lands, by the way. I've been telling you guys how Crawford is going to win the lead hand battle in this, and this fight just reinforces that for some of you. If you don't want to believe this, Maguire is, again, it's nice for me to call him a C-level fighter. He was knocked out, one punch KO by a guy with four knockouts, okay? You could counter this dude anytime you want, especially if Canelo had these skills and everything else that you guys are saying in my comment section. Again, we're going with the narrative with size. Got caught with the jab again, by the way. And understand this is Jaime Maguire, okay? Jab is getting through there. One out of those three attempts did land. But this is Jaime Maguire, guys. This guy does not have boxing acumen. This is a straight up and down fighter, like a Margarito. You understand? Jab to the body, pulling it back up top, lands a couple more jabs. And you guys look, Canelo is over here winging left hooks at this guy. And again, this is a very hittable target. Again, knocked out by a guy with four KOs who he needed to use PEDs to beat him in the rematch. You understand? And you're telling me that Crawford ain't going to touch this dude? And it's going to be a whole different fight. This is a punching bag that is walking towards you. He's a presentable target at all times. He's a counterpuncher's wet dream. Beat Canelo there to the jab, landed it on him, by the way. Went back downstairs, that jab to the body. The body punching in general is going to be there all night for Crawford if he wants to utilize it. But then he goes back up top with the jab as well. This is round one. This is a fill-out round. You can already see Canelo's receding hairline start to get exposed. Got caught with another jab, guys. But this is the great defensive master, Canelo Alvarez. And again, it's always size that people try to use against Canelo. This ref was helping out Canelo throughout this fight. It started to make me mad. You know what I'm saying? But it's always size. Crawford was a small guy versus Spence. He's too small and all that. So we covered that base. Your resume, we've covered that. And, of course, you guys give these guys skills they don't really have. You know what I'm saying? Got caught with the left hook, got caught with the left hook again. Put his punches together, at least a couple of those shots, maybe out of 5 attempts, landed on Canelo, guys. You understand? And Canelo's a younger fighter, too, guys. Get caught with the jab again. And you're telling me that Crawford is not going to land on this guy. Crawford is a far more skilled, better tactician. This dude had to try to get the ref out of the way for Canelo because dude's getting caught. Also, another thing you need to understand, you guys used to say Spence had better defense and all this other stuff. Crawford does not get hit like Canelo. He does not get hit like guys like Spence. Crawford has never been in a fight where a guy has landed 170 punches, and they skew the punch stats. I've gone over certain rounds where they have Canelo landing like 50% in some of these rounds, and I go to this far to make sure to see how big of the narrative. 2 jabs, 2 out of 3 attempts there. Canelo does answer with a body shot there. But this is Munguia. Again, this is a counterpuncher's wet dream. If Canelo is who you guys say he is. I've been telling you guys, Canelo's game plan, he doesn't really have one. It's a Gervonta Tank Davis game plan. Getting caught with jabs again, guys. Jab down low, the one up top did not miss, but he's consistent in landing on your dude. This defensive grand wizard, according to you guys, who's so heavily skilled and all this other nonsense, guys. You will never find a fight where Crawford's getting done up like this. I'm sorry. You will never find a fight where Crawford had an opponent land 170 punches on him, especially a guy of this caliber, again, got knocked out. 1 punch KO, right hand landed, went back downstairs to the body heading by Jaime Maguire. But I'm supposed to believe you guys, while Crawford is only a plus 160 betting underdog, that he's not going to land on this dude. Good body shot by Canelo. You understand, there's a reason why your guy's fighting guys like this, and he's not fighting guys like David Benavidez. Again, these guys always get exposed with cherry picks gone wrong. But this is Jaime Munguia, guys. Now, good. This is my point. He's there to be landed on all night. He was knocked out again by a guy with 4 KOs. 1 punch KO. Why couldn't Canelo do this to him? You guys need to explain this stuff to me. You understand? Now, he had one good sequence in this round. Jaime Munguia is still hitting him with the jab. In succession, by the way. Do you understand? But this is the Grand Wizard defensive guy going back downstairs. You understand? You're going to be dealing with the guy who's going to be using feints, has higher boxing acumen. You understand? Is going to keep you guessing. He's going to be the guy that's in rhythm, moving at all times. You understand? Canelo's only game plan is to land a hard punch. And in this fight, in fights like the Berlanga fight, he expends it too early, and he's unable to finish these guys. Got caught again. But this is the defensive wizard, and this is a slow Munguia. Do you understand? And he's a big target, and like I said, he would be a counterpuncher's wet dream. This guy would never last in the ring 3 rounds with guys like Roy Jones. You understand? The jump cut was a cutout ad, by the way. But I don't, again, when I look at these fights and I go by the narratives of what you guys tell me is going, I never see how it matches up. And I just simply call it out on this channel. Now, all 3 judges' scorecards had, one of the judges gave the second round to Canelo for whatever reason, but 2 out of the 3 gave the first 3 rounds to Jaime Munguia. Do you understand? Because it shows you this guy always gives up a bunch of rounds and he fights at his own leisure. You know what I'm saying? It gets to the point where Jaime Munguia, look at that body heading by Jaime Munguia, guys. But this is the great defensive wizard who has way more technical skills and better defense than Terrence Crawford, and allegedly gets hit less than Terrence Crawford. When I tell you guys, I have some of you writing books in my comment section, these crazy mathematical equations on, even though Canelo gets hit more, he still gets hit less. You know what I'm saying? As Jaime Munguia just got him with the right hand over top. Now, good body shot by Canelo, but this dude's open all night. Do you know what a real, true, talented counterpuncher would do to a Jaime Munguia who has a padded resume, fought a bunch of Canelo's leftovers, like John Wright or whoever else? Guys, again, you understand? Your dude's not a generational talent, guys. And I'm trying to be nice here and work with you guys here, but you're really leaving me you know what I'm saying? You're not leaving me much to work with here, guys. And this is a up-to-date fight. This is not a fight like Gamboa 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? This guy is there to be hit, Jaime Munguia, guys. Again, let me remind you, this dude was knocked out by a dude with 4 knockouts, and this dude needed PEDs in the rematch, okay? Now, nice little right hand, But this is straight up and down Jaime Munguia, guys. And Canelo has such these great sensational skills and, again, defense and everything else. But although he's the most assisted fighter, has some of the most controversial victories, you know what I'm saying? Everyone knows the judging is corrupt. We know it's in Canelo's favor, going back to the ropes, getting backed up by a ABC 1-2-3 Jaime Munguia. Do you understand? There's nothing crazy about Jaime Munguia, guys. Again, he's there to be hit this entire time. Canelo's probably afraid, I think, of getting tired, got hit with another jab. Jaime, he blocked some of those. That's great. Okay, by the end of this fight, and I'm trying to tell you, they screw with the punch stats. They had Jaime Munguia landing 170 on Canelo. Do you understand? Look at that. Getting flurried up just like Bivol. But this is Jaime Munguia. This is why you chose to fight this guy. You didn't consider him a risk. If this was Benavidez, I mean, come on. This would have already been another L on your resume. The body shots landed. Canelo did evade a bunch of the shots up top, but of course ends it with a nice right hand. But this is a guy, he has no real special effects. You know what I'm saying? Got to fight guys like Hogan and some other clowns. Gary O'Sullivan, you know what I'm saying? And I'm supposed to sit here, still getting jabbed up through the guard, by the way. And you're trying to tell me a guy who's probably, if not the best, let's just say top 3 best people in the sport that at landing punches that his opponents don't see, still getting caught with the jab, guys. You know what I'm saying? Canelo's missing with his attempts. And he's probably already getting tired. This is the 4th round. He actually does get the knockdown in this round, guys. So I'll give you that. But You're Canelo. You're supposed to be the best of this generation, according to some of you. You know what I'm saying? Good, good little shots that Canelo's finally landing in here. But this is, Munguia. He's got confidence. He's won the first 3 rounds. He's landing a lot of glove on your dude, who's a defensive wizard again. Jab gets through again. You know what I'm saying? You could have been countered this dude at this point. And quite frankly, again, this guy's a punching bag. I'm sorry. Nice little jab by Munguia again. You understand? He worked with Freddie Roach. They worked on some of his game. And he started becoming more of a volume puncher like Amir Khan to a certain extent. But he's a very predictable guy to time and land big shots on. And that's why they haven't fought real killers in his career. You understand? Munguia's had a very padded career. You know, he reminds me of Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., to be quite honest with you. Just a big, strong guy. But, I mean, there's nothing to really gawk out here when it comes to boxing acumen and things like that. Good job by Canelo, but you're still getting caught with jabs yourself, caught with another jab. And again, this is Jaime Munguia, a guy who's not really known for his timing. I don't know if that landed. I mean, it's hard to tell when Canelo does his matrix bullet time dodges. But look, you can counter this dude all day long and already have this dude out of here if you're the real deal. And you got the knockdown. That's great. Jaime Munguia, he'll leave himself out of position a lot of the times. His head's right there to be hit. If Canelo was who you guys said he was, I think this should have happened a lot earlier. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't be 3 rounds down. I think we go to round 5. I wanted to show you later on in the fight as well, like round 9, where he's able to land on Canelo as well. But again, we've seen Canelo in fights, and he is starting to slip finally. This is why he fights the guys that he's fighting. And some of these guys, they claim to be instructed to not try to beat Canelo, guys. But this is your defensive wizard here, okay? Munguia has already almost landed as many punches as Madrimov did the entire fight versus Terrence Crawford, by the way. He's not too far off from that number right now. And we're just barely in round 5. And, you got the knockdown, but I thought we should show round 5, the next round. Canelo wants to go back to fighting at his own leisure. Again, he doesn't really have the ability to really, really catch guys slipping. He wants to play counterpuncher, and this is another thing that's going to bite him in this fight. Look, getting caught up again. And this is after Munguia got knocked down, guys. You understand? When he got knocked down by, I forgot dude's name, Bruno. I forgot his last name. Okay? The dude had 4 KOs. In that fight, he actually knocked Bruno down early in the fight and then later was, again, knocked out by 1 punch. You know what I'm saying? He may have landed that right hand. And Canelo's going to need to watch out if he does that type of crap versus Crawford, where he leans back that far and gives Crawford time to think. Still getting caught with punches, though. This is the defensive wizard, guys. Okay? I know you guys go back and you show some Danny Jacobs highlights, to really hype yourselves up. But, I mean, this is more closer to the Canelo getting body-headed again by Jaime Munguia. ABC 123 Munguia. You know what I'm saying? But Canelo, he doesn't really have, like, a Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. That dude was a killer. It don't matter if you're blocking whatever. He was like a pit bull. He's going to sink his teeth into you, not let go. And Canelo, again, he's more of a finesse guy. I need to outskill you. And it's even being reported that he's actually slimming down for this fight. You understand? So he's worried about the hand speed and things like that. That's all that's really telling you. And Bud is not this, look, still getting done up with successful punches in succession, guys. This is your defensive master. And to tell you the truth, I think Canelo's fighting like this because he's scared to get tired. He doesn't want to expend himself, especially against a volume puncher of this caliber of a fighter. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this guy, according to your guys' version of Canelo, he shouldn't even be in this fight right now. But Canelo's already tired. We can already see it. And he's still trying to fight this dude at his own leisure for whatever reason. But we just wanted to put on, this myth to the bed. Like, yeah, okay. When you were draining certain guys and fighting guys at opportune moments, yeah, you can look like a defensive wizard, but at the same time, you still lose a lot of rounds and you still get hit more than Terrence Crawford and you still make more mistakes, okay? All right, guys. So we covered the first 5 rounds, and like I said, Maguire is already close to the total number of punches that Madrimov landed on Terrence Crawford, a guy moving up from 147. As I've been saying, there's going to be a lot of respect. It's going to be a chess match. Again, Crawford is nowhere near as hittable as a Jaime Maguire. Again, he's going to keep Canelo guessing and things like that. You saw Canelo not really able, just like in that first round, where he winged that left hook and he missed big time on Maguire. Crawford, again, he's a counter puncher. He's a guy who knows how to make fighters pay. Again, the only thing that we're just trying to understand, and I have to say this, and people, they keep arguing against this point, it would be no question if Terrence Bud Crawford and Canelo were the same size. Do you understand? That would be one of Crawford's easiest fights in his career. You're just dealing with the guy who sits there, blocks, tries to look cool, doing photo op type poses during a fight, and then tries to slip, a haymaker in to try to hurt you and shock you. That's Canelo's game plan summed up. You understand? This wouldn't even be a question if they were the same size. That's the only thing that makes this fight intriguing is that Crawford's moving up multiple weight classes to go after this guy. And he is going to win this fight, guys. I'm sorry. As you'll see that right now while we're talking, you'll see the betting odds. You guys can come in my comment section. You can poon jab me, but I don't really believe you. You understand? Like I said, on this channel, we don't base our reality on fables. We base it off of reality. You understand? And you guys, again, with the poon jabbing, trying to look cool on the internet, emoji, I'm just not buying it for some reason. Just like you guys aren't really putting your money on Canelo Alvarez. Again, size is the only thing that makes this matchup intriguing. Again, Crawford is not going to be in one spot right in front of you throwing 8 punches, and getting away with that type of crap. You're going to be the guy also who's going to finally be in the ring with the counterpuncher. Typically, Canelo, he gets away with a lot of stuff. It's not only because of the judging, it's not only because of whatever else factors are, you got refs helping you out and making sure you're okay as well. You know what I'm saying? Whatever these people got set up. But typically you're the smaller, faster guy. So again, you get away with these type of mistakes that you make. You're not really fighting guys that can counterpunch you, set you up for traps and things like that. You're fighting guys like Jaime Maguire, Berlanga, John Ryder. You know what I'm saying? These guys aren't going to, make you miss, make you pay. You're not ready for that type of fight. Guys like Bivol, guys like Floyd, guys like Laura, when you missed, they made you pay too. You understand? GGG was more of a straight up guy, but we've already talked about GGG on this channel. Crawford has a very good chance of winning. You see this reflected in the betting odds. I don't know what to tell you guys. Again, I don't see Sweet Pea, Canelo Alvarez, like you guys are over here talking about. I see a guy who wasted too much of his prime fighting fights that he knew he could win. He's what I call a pampered fighter, guys. You get assistance like a Gervonta Tank Davis who can take a knee in the middle of a fight and not be knocked for it. You understand? Same type of preferential treatment with a guy like Canelo. And again, in this fight, if we would have went on longer, Canelo does this delayed lean back a bunch of times. You can do that stuff against Jaime Maguire. You can't do that type of stuff against a Terrence Crawford, even a guy moving up. They do have similar dimensions. Crawford has a bigger reach. What gives Crawford his power is his base. It's his legs. He's very strong, has very strong legs and things like that. He can dead weight a lot of weight and things like that. That's where his power truly comes from, but he does not have the upper body size. That's about it. But the power is from your legs. And again, it's not necessarily the punch or the power, it's the punch that you don't see coming. This has been proven by guys like Jose Cotto. Canelo, I believe he's got to see these type of guys like Jaime Maguire. He's not too shocked or, caught off guard, by guys like Maguire, whoever else. But when you get into the Bibbles, things like that, you know what I'm saying? Whole different ball game. When you get to the Floyd Mayweathers, even the Lauras, again, whole different ball game. And as far as the jab and the lead hand and why it's going to be such an important factor in this fight again, guys like Larry Mosley were beating Canelo all night, winning the lead hand battle. Of course, Laura did as well. You know, Canelo, when he gets into these things where he's down, and he just makes sure that he connects, whether it's on the hips, whether it's on the arms. You know, he gets credit for those type of rounds. And of course, you have the weird judging, the wacky judging with Canelo, and it kind of, again, closes those gaps. But Canelo's not here because of merit. He's not here because of his skills. He's here because of the machine, guys, and I am doubling down. In the comment sections, you are going to have to do better. I can't really argue with fables, you understand, or emotions or feelings for that fact. We have the film right here. You can let me know if I'm being so ridiculously biased. You know, you can make those type of concerns, but as far as me having to validate your fantasy and your fables, it's not going to happen on this channel, guys. I will talk to you later. Bye.